What can you do with beginner English students who want conversation classes? They don't know enough to talk freely, but they don't want to do vocab or grammar either. You're stuck, right? Wrong. I'm Will from Enchanted ESL, and in this video I'll show you 3 different activities you can do with your beginner students to get them speaking but also developing their vocab and grammar. The problem is many students want conversation classes because they don't like the idea of studying grammar and doing boring vocab memorization. And I get that, conversation is the best route to fluency, but if you don't know any words or grammar, how can you even get started? As a teacher, what you shouldn't do is get a big list of questions and just ask them one after the other. Besides it seeming like a police interrogation, your students don't develop any skills other than answering direct questions. What I do is use certain activities that create a structured dialogue into which you can introduce new language. The first one is a great example. Activity number 1 is tier lists. You know them, the internet was full of them a few years ago, and they're a great way of expressing opinions. They're a goldmine of vocabulary in the form of pictures, so students don't need to immediately know the vocabulary, but they can pick it up as you go through. And while you do, you dress it up as a conversation expressing likes and dislikes. If you go to tiermaker.com, you can find thousands of them in all different categories. Like this one about fruit. Get your students to drag the item onto the tier list. We've got a pineapple here, that's probably a new word for them. Your student drags it A. They like pineapple. Get them to explain that. Maybe they say, I like pineapple, I don't like pineapple on pizza. They might need help just saying that. But if they're confident with simple sentences, you can push them a little bit further and encourage them to say, I like pineapple but not on pizza, adding a bit more complexity to their sentences. Blueberries next, that's another new word. They put it in D. Ugh, not happy with blueberries. Help them express their distaste for this fruit. And it's that simple. The more items you do, the more words they pick up, and the more confident they become at expressing their likes and dislikes and opinions. The second activity is one of my favourite speaking games, Say and Draw, but with tweaking it to make it a dialogue. Normally, one person describes a picture and everybody else draws it. However, if you let the drawers ask questions to the describer, then you've got a back and forth going on. If the describer says draw a dog, then the others can ask, is it big? Or how big is the dog? And you can help them develop those questions and answers. They can discuss where things in the picture go and focus on specific details. The pictures can come from your student's mind. That's the most fun. But alternatively, you can give them a picture that they have to describe to the others and then compare the original and the results afterwards. If you're teaching one-to-one, then they can go online and find a picture of their choice and then describe it to you. You can get a lot of mileage out of Say and Draw. It's a really fun activity, and I've got a whole video on it, which you can find up there and down in the description. The third activity is collaborative storytelling. For beginners, we'll keep this easy and focus on things that happened in their life, ideally recently. One student begins to recount something interesting that happened to them. This is a great way of practicing the past tense. The other students listen and they interject with questions or ideas. This has a similar template to Say and Draw actually, but we're focusing on actions in the past rather than descriptions. Everyone gets their turn telling the story and provoking developments in others. And if you're feeling confident, turn it into a made-up story where you take turns describing chunks of it. With a creative group, this can be a lot of fun. And of course, there will be lots of things that your students don't know how to say. That's where you step in and help them. However, I would stress to your beginner conversation students that expanding their vocabulary is super important, and they should definitely dedicate a lot of their time to that. And you can become an expert on teaching vocabulary by watching my series on it. I've developed a powerful method over the years, and you can find out how in the first video about hacking the mind, which is right here. But for now, I've been Will from Enchanted ESL, wishing you all the joy and success in your teaching. See ya!